Hey, my name is Lizzie Smiley, and I absolutely love helping people connect with their calling and all the tools they need to kick roadblocks and excuses right out the door so they can cultivate the life they dream about. If you want to launch, grow, pivot, or scale your Etsy shop, or you've always wanted to develop the mindset and skills to run your own business, then I'm your girl. I've had that entrepreneurial spirit going strong since my very first lemonade stand, and now I'm a work-at-home mama with multiple online companies and a full-time Etsy shop, all while being present with my kids for the everyday chaos and most important milestones. On this podcast, we'll talk about all things business, mindset, Etsy, creativity, dazzling our customers, and so much more. There's plenty of room at this table for you, so scooch on in and let's go. I'm holding nothing back. Welcome to How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. I'm so glad you're here. Hey, friend. Welcome back to this week's show. I'm so excited to be back with you today. And I was kind of wondering, do you know that I offer business coaching? Yeah, like I coach business sellers, Etsy sellers, and all kinds of entrepreneurs and business owners. It's actually one of my favorite things that I do. I love to connect with someone just like you and help you flesh out your vision, answer your questions, and point you towards tools and strategies that can get you closer to your goals. And every single session like that is totally different. But for this episode, I thought it would be kind of fun to let you listen in on a coaching session. I had one recently with a sweet friend of mine, and she was very brave and bold to let me share it with you. And she's launching an Etsy shop for handmade carved ornaments and small wood signs. They are darling, and she offers several seasonal and personalized choices. It's so great. I was really excited. And Julia and I actually used to work together many, many moons ago, back in my corporate days at USAA. And we recently reconnected. We've been like Facebook buds, but not necessarily on the phone. But we got on a call because she found out that I could give her some pointers on launching her Etsy shop. So I was so excited to get to visit with her. It was wonderful. I was able to answer her questions. And the best part was watching her confidence and excitement grow. You could see it on her face as we talked through how she can position and grow her shop. She even told me at the end she wasn't nervous anymore. It was so great. So I hope you feel inspired and encouraged by our session together. And I'm 100% convinced that you will glean all kinds of tips, insights, and aha moments from this very rich conversation. Let's listen in. Okay. Okay, let's do this, Julia.
All right,
You ready?
let's do
You ready?
this.
Okay.
Right.
So you have a list of questions for me, right?
I do.
Okay,
I,
let's go through them, and I'm sure we're going to have 100 bunny trails, and that's great. So lay
all
it
right.
on me.
Okay, so I just really don't even know where to start with all of this.
Okay.
I'm, I have this business going and kind of like a business, but I want to get on Etsy, but I don't really know like what to do first. I don't know
Like where to start. Okay,
where to
so you
start.
say you have a business, you have a product, right?
I have a product, yes.
Okay, tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Okay, so I'm laser cutting and laser engraving wood and acrylic and anything that can be laser cut or laser engraved. I'm doing it. So making ornaments and for the season right now, focusing on ornaments and small signs and little things like that. More of that gift giving type of thing. So that's where I'm focusing right now.
Okay, and are you going to be doing like custom pieces?
Yes, most of the stuff that I'm doing right now is personalized.
Okay.
So that I think that's where some of my other questions for later come in about
Okay.
personalized things to sell.
That's actually super exciting. I'm very excited for you because this particular product line literally kills the game. Anytime you can do something small that's not too expensive, like people have in their mind this, there's some mental sort of spending ideas we have in our mind. And like 7.99 is like a no think buy, and 9.99 is like a no think buy. And then for some people, anything under $20 or 20 or under is a no think buy. But it's okay if yours are more than that. They're handmade. But I'm just saying smaller things do great on Etsy, and personalized things do spectacularly on Etsy. So
Mm,
you are barking up the right tree. You should be excited. It's going to be really good.
but I'm nervous
So
too.
where of course you are. If you're not a little nervous, you don't understand what you're about to do. But it's gonna be good. So tell me where you're selling them now.
So right now I'm selling them. I have a Facebook business page, so I'm selling
Okay.
them through there and to friends and family and Facebook Marketplace, those types of places. Those are really kind of I just put myself out there in those areas to see if I could do it locally. I think that was what my thoughts were was to try to eliminate the need to mail things and not to overwhelm myself with too many things and just sell locally and see what I could do there. I have
Okay.
explored doing some like markets and things like that, but I haven't gotten to that yet.
Okay. Yeah. There's definitely pros and cons, and we can flesh that out more if you want to. So how are you collecting payment right now?
Through Zelle or Venmo or Cash App.
Okay. So you're setting it that way, and then you're doing like drop off or pickup kind of a situation.
Yes. I'm really trying to stay away from drop off because gas is
Right.
really expensive. So pick up mostly.
Okay. Well, I think that your product is spectacular for Etsy, and I think that your next step should be to have you created a shop at all? Do you have anything up at all?
No,
Okay.
nervous.
Okay. So, no, it's going to be fun. I'm going to help you. That's why I'm here. So, yeah, we need to get you up in a shop. And here's the thing. Here's where you can feel really comfortable about it's because it's okay to be nervous about it. You can go and create the shop and create the listings, and they're not live until you make them live.
Okay.
So they can all be drafts. It's very user friendly and easy, but I think you will feel better once you get in there and kind of get it built, but don't have the pressure yet of worrying about sales. I think that's the best place to start. You've got a beautiful product. You've got
Thank
a
you.
great concept. By the end of this call, you're going to know exactly what you need to do to get it in front of people and having them buy. I will tell you, I started exactly the same way you did, with a Facebook page, a website, and like trying to sell local. And I got very, very few sales.
Okay.
And once I got on Etsy, it took a little bit of time. So that's the good thing is you don't really need to be too braced for impact. It should be a slow roll here, which is I think good when
Okay.
you're feeling a little nervous about it.
Yeah.
But getting on Etsy was huge because it's the whole thing when you do it on your own, it's like just because you build it doesn't mean they come.
Afraid of. I think in my mind, I think, oh my gosh, when I open it, it's going to be like all these people are going to run into my store and buy all my stuff. And then what do I do? Like, I'm going to run out and then people are going to be upset with me. And that's probably not going to happen, is it?
You can well, I do think that you're poised. This is great timing. So we're recording this in November 2021. You are like poised for great holiday season, but you need to move now.
Yeah.
Because people are anticipating longer turnaround times this year. They're shopping earlier this year. Like I would want you in the next week to 2 weeks to have that up and have a few listings out there. So if you're
Okay.
asking, the best place to start is to get that shop up, get some listings in there, and then you don't have to hit publish right away. You don't have to put them out there. You can kind of get it there, see how you're feeling, how it's looking. We're going to have you do a whole bunch of research so you feel comfortable about how it's positioned
Okay.
before you actually make them live.
Okay. That sounds good. I'm a little less nervous that I'm not
Okay.
going to completely like be overwhelmed. So that's good. It's good
I
news.
think it feels like a lot of pressure once you commit to like opening up the shop, and it really isn't. You can start really slow and small. And do you know about vacation mode?
Yes, because I listened to your
Oh,
podcast on
did you?
vacation mode.
It's
Yeah,
going to be
so
your
I'll
saving grace.
yes. Yeah. Especially because I can't do this outside of my house. I have to be here with the equipment in order to make
Make a
things. And
product
so yeah. So if I'm not here, then I can't do it. So vacation mode I think is going to be my friend.
for sure. Well, and I use it for like when I just don't have the stock or the time, if I need to focus on my daughter for a week or two, I use vacation mode for that. So it's
Okay.
so mom, family, work friendly. You're gonna love
Love
it.
love it.
Is there anything else around why you're nervous that we maybe need to flesh out? Like, do we need a coaching moment around any of that? Or is it just really you haven't really gotten your fingers in there yet, and that's more where it's coming from?
Well, I think the other things that I'm a bit nervous about, I know that branding is important, and going live with some of the pictures that I've taken so far, and I mean they're okay for Facebook Marketplace, but are they okay for Etsy? I think
Mhm.
is some of the things that I've been concerned about is like, okay, I'm not as polished as some of those Etsy people, are, and so is it okay to go out there um, a little a little bit still looking like I took pictures in my living room,
Yeah. Well, so like let's jump to that question, I think, and talk about pictures a little bit. So they are the most important thing to sell on Etsy. But let me just tell you that when I started, I had my signs propped up against dead trees. Um and it turned out okay. so
Okay.
like the great thing is like to put your listing live on Etsy costs 20 cents. So you put up what you've got and then you systematically and you go through the research, you see what's really working on Etsy for your product, for your niche, and then you go and you figure out your own way to do it. So you're going to systematically pick a product and kind of improve it. Now what's a little trickier for you is that you're constantly having a new product to show. You're not using like the same base of a sign like I am and then painting it. So what you're going to end up doing though, and it's going to be totally fine, you're going to have 2 to 4 basically setups
Okay.
that work really well, and you're going to keep using them. So you've got ornaments. You probably need to make sure you've got like a small Christmas tree, one of those little tabletop kind, and you set
Right.
it up somewhere cute with some other tinsel and stuff, and you're always going to have a little spot there that you hang the one that you need to photograph and sell right there, and you're going to already have it positioned, and you're going to be able to go take that shot and then put that on Etsy, even on the phone using your app. Using the app on your phone, you can just lifts it right up there. You're going to find a few things. And I will tell you, I checked out your Facebook page and I saw you did this video where you held the ornament by the string and it spun around. That was spectacular.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
that for every single one that needs to go on every single listing. That right there, that's like a super professional Etsy type of thing.
Okay.
So I really want to encourage you. Like, yeah, some of your photos we can work on, and you're going to just need to find staging things. For me, I finally got okay. So actually, I'm gonna expose myself. This thing here was one of the photo decks that I used when I sold smaller signs. So you can get stuff
Okay.
like this that then you can kind of stage your stuff on, and you can have somewhere set up where well, yours are ornaments. So, but they're wood. You might be able to find there's different things you could try, and you're
Yeah.
gonna test it. And
Okay.
something that you can do that I did a lot is that I would have the same sign and I would take it on different backgrounds and I'd have more than one listing for the same piece. And I
Mm,
would see which one sold, which one did better, which one got more favorites, views, sales, that kind of thing. And
okay.
you're just going to kind of, it's a
Okay.
little bit of a science slash art figuring
Yeah.
out what works.
Yeah.
Does
Okay.
that help?
That makes sense. That definitely helps. Um, just to test the waters there, right? Like,
Yeah,
okay,
I wouldn't
people look
worry
at
about it.
that. Okay.
Put up what you've got and then start playing with some different backgrounds. And sometimes the things that you think are going to look great look terrible. Sometimes the things that do look great don't appeal to your customer for some reason. You just have to test and play. And that's why don't feel shy to have several listings for it. If you've only got one and you can't cut another, but you could cut another, is I guess the good news.
Yeah.
You need to make sure and take one down if it sells. So it's a little more finicky that way. But if you
Okay.
can just make another, I mean, that's the best thing is to not have a ton of inventory and to be able to kind of churn them out as they come in. So you're not spending a ton of money on supplies.
See, that's one of my other questions. So that's a good lead into the next one, about supplies, because so since I'm making personalized items, I can't make a ton at one time, right?
Yes.
So I make one at a time, and I make a sample. And so what I've been doing is making samples. I make it for somebody. So when I'm done taking a picture of the sample, I give it to the person that I made it for, and then they can love it and share it with their friends and family, and then hopefully they'll buy more from me. But once I'm done with the sample, then I don't have anything. I just am waiting for someone to order it. So it seems like it'll go slower. Like I'll get, it may take me a little bit longer to fulfill orders. What is the norm on Etsy for like turnaround time? Is there a norm?
So it's going to totally vary by product. That's one of the things, and that here in a few minutes we should go into talking about the research piece. You need to go look at the people in your niche who are doing this and have sold a ton and have a bunch of bestsellers in their shop, and you need
Okay.
to see what theirs are, and you need to try to match that. The fact that it's personalized, people will take a lot more. They'll give you more time. Um,
Okay.
our smaller, our well, none of our signs are small, but the smaller version is we always have it a 1 to 2 week turnaround, and our large above bed ones we do for a 2 to 3 week turnaround. I think
Okay.
because you have a smaller item, you probably can't go that long. Um, I think people just expect that faster, you know? But it is personalized. So you don't need to be shipping it next day. You know, you can probably do 3 to 5 to 7 days. And right now, I think people are expecting a longer turnaround. You're going to get more sales though. So this is one of the ways that I control my sales actually. If I need to slow things down, I push out my turnaround time because I'll get fewer orders just by virtue of having a longer turnaround time. If I want
Okay.
to make more sales, I speed up my turnaround time. And that by virtue of that, I'll get more. So that is another way you can kind of play with not having to worry too much about the inventory and all that.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but I think what you're doing is great, actually. I would not sit on a ton of inventory. I'd probably take a few extra pictures when you make one. Take, 5 to 7 rather than 1 or 2 since it's going to be making its way out your door. But I love that for you. You're not storing stuff. And
Right.
then that'll give you a little bit more. But then what's going to happen is after a little time has passed and your listings are up, a few of your designs are going to emerge as the more common sellers. And if any of them are not personalized, you can have a couple waiting to go out the door, you
Right.
know? But the
Yeah.
personalized ones, they know they're going to have to wait. They're going to have to
Yeah. Because they're hand cut and they're hand painted, and I have to glue them all together, and there's a lot of work behind it.
a
But
lot of work. Yeah, I think it's okay to give yourself time
okay. Okay. That's good. That was
and
one of
you'll
the other
test it.
things I was nervous about.
You'll test it. Let's say you put a 2 week turnaround time and we look at everything else and your keywords are good and your pictures are good and there's other things like it. We know this kind of thing is selling and you're not. Then we know, well, we need to look at pricing and we need to look at turnaround time. And these are ways that we can tweak it, make it faster, and then see if you get more sales that way. It's part of just that art of figuring out what's going to work for your shop.
Okay. Okay. That's perfect. You said pricing. That led me to. I have one question there, and I know you wanted to talk about research, but on
No, that's good.
pricing. So I am having a hard time with pricing. I just want to make everything $20 because that seems like an easy thing to do. But I'm trying to figure out how to price, use or considering my time
Yeah.
and the maintenance of the machine, because it's a laser and inevitably it's going to need to be maintained and something's going to break, and so how do you do that? What are your thoughts on how to price considering those other things, not just materials?
Not yeah, exactly, right? Think of it like this. So definitely I would list all those things out. I would have a very solid grasp on what all those things are. You're going to have to do the same thing when it comes to some shipping too, a lot of times people think that it's just the shipping cost. Well, no, what about tape, fragile stickers, boxes or bags, packaging, like all of these other things that sometimes people don't think of when they just think, what does shipping cost? There's so much more to it. I literally have to account for the masking tape that I use on my craft paper to wrap up this, the
Yeah.
twine, the picture, all of it. It all adds up. So you do want to go ahead and account for all of those things. And with the machine, you're going to have to do some math figuring out, what do they say, how long things should last, a blade or the machine itself for the wear and tear. That's some math you'll have to do based on what the manufacturer tells you. So you want to
Uh-huh.
itemize it out for each piece. But then this is kind of perfect. This kind of goes into research as well. What you're going to have to do for all of this is you're going to go in and actually you and I will do this off camera. Right now it's impossible for us to do for the folks who get to kind of listen in on our chat. But what I do in a coaching session is we go in together and we dig in and we look at who are the top players in your niche? What products are selling like gangbusters? We're going to go in and we're going to look at those best sellers. We're going to figure out how you can play in that pool, if assuming it's not too saturated that it would make no sense. How can you do that with doing it your own way? We're not copying anybody. We want to honor the other artists, but they can inspire us just like artists always do. We're going to go in. What pictures jump out the best in the feed? Which things are best sellers? What is their turnaround time? What is their pricing? We're going to look, how do they set up their listings? What keywords are they using, like in the title of the products that are turning up as best sellers or the top of the search? We're going to go in and we're going to figure all that out. And then you're going to make some decisions from there. So ideally in business, obviously, you want to be able to account for all of your expenses and build them in and your work time. But a lot of times, and this is why so many businesses fail, in the beginning, you have to kind of take a bit of a pay cut to
Exactly.
establish yourself. So I typically recommend, and it kind of depends on my client's goals. If someone's goal is, I don't really care how much this is just fun. I don't care how much I really make. I'm not trying to really build anything. I'm like, well, then by all means, there's no reason to take a loss. But if someone's like, no, I want to build a business. Well, what I did was I did the exact research we just talked about. And then I priced just below a competitor, someone who's doing really well, so that when someone goes in and toggles to give me the lowest to highest cost, they see that I have a comparable product. They know I'm newer. I may not have as many reviews. I may not have the bestseller badge, but I look really good compared to the other guy and I'm a little bit cheaper. And so it's what I would suggest as a pricing strategy for you if you really want to build something here. And I mean, my
Right.
odds are you do if you're willing to have a coaching
I
session.
do.
I would do that. I would start, but then what's going to happen is very quickly you will compete, you will start getting sales, you'll start getting reviews, and definitely by the point that you've got 100 sales, probably before then, and you've got some 5-star glowing reviews in there, you're going to be able to bump up. It wasn't long before I bumped my prices up to the same.
Okay.
And that's where but that's where it gets tricky, and you've got to watch this and you've got to decide more long term, paying attention to when it's time to pivot to other products or to change pricing and things like that. Because what can end up happening is, as people get more and more competitive, it's got to over time make sense with what your expenses are. So in the
Okay.
beginning, I would take a bit of a hit, especially on labor. You want to be priced just below
Okay.
those best sellers until you get established. That's my personal approach when you want to really get in there.
Get in there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I mean, I can take a hit on labor because it's just me, right? So I get paid a normal or my day job. I'll take my pay there instead of
Yeah.
this.
I mean, you shouldn't make nothing. You shouldn't make nothing, but we can't, in the beginning, we're trying to earn the trust of the public. And so as we establish our brand and we establish that trust, we kind of have to convince them with a bit of a deal.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Because otherwise, then why wouldn't they go to the person who's already established and proven themselves and they have the reviews and they have the sales and they've got the badge and they've got why would they
Yeah,
choose? We have to give them a reason to choose us.
choose us. Okay, I like that. Okay, that makes sense.
So I have a question for you. Can I be your coach? Since 2012, I've been working with business owners in all different walks of life and helping them figure out how to grow their businesses, develop themselves, work through fears and challenges, launch a new idea, or create a very fresh vision for their life. One of my core strengths is generating ideas and casting vision on a project. And I would just love to do that for you. Whether you need coaching for your Etsy shop or a completely different business project, I'm here to partner with you for breakthrough and brainstorm brilliant strategies with you. My experience in everything from corporate America to network marketing to consulting, web design, blogging, Etsy, Shopify, social media management, and now course creation and podcasting has given me quite the breadth of knowledge to help my fellow entrepreneur. and I would be totally delighted to work with you. You can book a coaching session over at howtosellyourstuff.com or shoot me an email at lizziesmiley@yahoo.com and we'll find out if we'd be a good fit. I cannot wait to meet you and hear what you're dreaming about.
All right. Ready for another question?
Yeah, definitely. Or yeah, however you want to go. If you want to dig more into any of those or you want to go to the next one, by all means.
Let's see. So you mentioned mailing costs.
Okay.
Um,
We're going
do
to
you
go
have
for
to
shipping.
check mailing costs? What was that?
We're going to go after shipping.
Oh, I'm nervous.
Well, the
Because
great thing is that your product is light.
yes, it is. It is. I mailed something the other day though, and I paid $8, and I was like, $8? That's a lot. But so that made me more just skeptical about needing to pay for shipping because the price I want to keep the price point right, but then if you add shipping on top of that, that increases the price point. So I don't know how to balance that. Like, what do you do there?
We're going to do some testing for sure, but what I think should be the initial strategy for you, since you have a small product, you have a light product, you're a new shop, you're going to be pricing a bit lower. I think that you should not do the free shipping guarantee. I think
Okay.
that you should charge for shipping, and you're going to need to do some testing to see, is there a flat rate you can do, or do you need to go by zip code? Part of that is just art. Part of that is getting in and looking at, if I ship to California, what does it cost? Just knowing what the dimensions of your packaging would be, what the weight of a typical item would be. And you want to look at, so Texas, since we're both in Texas, is going to be the cheapest. So get that as a baseline. Check Pennsylvania, check Florida, and check maybe California and Oregon, and grab zip codes from there and check in the. What'll happen once you create your shop is you can actually I mean, you could do it through the USPS site as well, or FedEx, and you can go in and calculate what the costs are. But if you use Etsy shipping, you can get up to like 30% off retail costs, depending on what it is. It's going to be
Oh,
cheaper just using Etsy shipping labels. That's what I've always done. There are some other companies, like there's something called Pirate Ship and something called ShipStation, which apparently Pirate Ship is the cheapest and it integrates with Etsy and everything. I've never gone to the trouble of all that because shipping is already a bear for us. And we just do it within Etsy. It's probably one of the things I could look at if I wanted to, if I wanted to see if I could save a little more. But you want to go and you want to do, you always want to do priority mail or something with tracking and insurance. Make sure you do that for yourself. You'll love yourself for it later. And you're just gonna have to find like a standard packaging. So what's gonna be really important for you is making sure you have a way to wrap where your product isn't gonna break.
hmm.
And so, I mean, you could do maybe a bubble mailer. You may have to test it. I'm not 100% convinced that's gonna.
So, yeah. So I
Yeah,
did ship with a bubble mailer, but just here in town, like farther away, in the outskirts of San Antonio. And I asked them to let me know if it got there and if it was all in one piece. And both said yes, it got there
good.
perfectly fine. I wrapped it inside the bubble mailer, so
Oh,
it was
good.
double, double. But I am tomorrow going to ship to California, so we'll see how that goes. But that's a larger order, so I can't use a bubble mailer for that. So
Okay.
I'm gonna have to play with a few things. I think.
You want to know my secret for this?
Tell me. I do.
Okay, so what I do is I order a few things from a few different competitors that have the bestseller thing that are selling a ton of stuff. And
Uh-huh.
then I get to enjoy the beautiful product and like see and get inspired and like touch it and feel it and just be able to compare apples to apples, but I also see how they package it. Because
Uh,
they've already gone through the ringer of figuring out what's the safest way, what's the cheapest way. Like, why would I go? I mean, I'm going to obviously find my own way from there, but I always use that as a baseline.
I love that.
It's
I
fun
need to
too. It's
try
like,
something.
it's Happy Mail.
I'll just call it research.
It is. You could write it off.
Yeah. Oh, I like that better, even better. Okay. I like that. I'm writing it
Yeah,
down.
so it's a bit of a mess, but Etsy shipping labels will save you so much trouble. A couple other tips: if you don't do this in the beginning because wouldn't be worth it, but if you really start moving and grooving, you should buy a label printer, right? You can
Okay.
just get those 2 sheet peelable. Oh, by the way, get peelable labels. Don't waste your time having to cut the paper and then tape it on there. It's such a you would not believe what a big difference it makes just to get the little just on Amazon. I can send you the link, just the little 2 sheet peel mailer or that you put in your printer.
Oh, yes.
And
Okay.
then, but yeah, if you start selling a lot, get a label printer. It will save you ink, it will save you time, it will save you hassle. And then the other thing is, I schedule a mail pickup every day for my orders. I do
Okay.
not waste time going to the post office. I get those labels printed at home. I got a little cheap little scale on Amazon. I weigh them. I do all of it at home. I label them, print it, and I have a pickup. And my mailman is one of my best friends now. His name is Miguel. I put him on TikTok the other day. He was a very good sport.
Oh,
And you can do FedEx too, though. We kind of know the FedEx guy, but less so. So
okay.
save yourself the time and hassle of going to the post office.
I love that. Do you have to pay for mail pickup?
No,
Oh, I like that even better.
you
Okay.
don't. You can go on, you log in, and you put in. There's a place where I can send you the link if you want, where you can go in and schedule a pickup. Actually, may not be able to because you've got to. No, I think there's a general one, and then it'll just prompt you to log in. You put in your address. You only have to do it once, and then you just complete. So, okay, a couple other tips too. In the beginning, when I scheduled it, it defaults to like they pick it up from your front porch. Don't do that because the porch pirates will steal it. I once had like 4 signs stolen off of our front porch, and that was after we'd shipped hundreds. It was so weird. Well, it wasn't weird, like that's just the world we live in, but I'd never had a problem before, and then one day that happened, and after that, mm-mm. So you can toggle down and you can say knock or ring the bell, and you can even leave a
Okay.
note there if you need to. And so they'll come. You'll have a scan sheet when you'll be able to print out a scan sheet when you print your labels. They will come and scan it, and they will take them for you. And it is literally you just it's gonna what it will do is it'll say you do have to pay if you want them to come at a specific time. If it can just be at your normal mail drop off, which is what I always do, so just whenever he's coming through the neighborhood anyway, he makes a stop by
Yeah.
the house, and then
Okay.
he or she will take it from you. And there is this one thing, depending on where some people live, you have to click and say, is it available, like is this available where I live? But I mean, based on where you live, you shouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, it should be. And our mailboxes are right across the street, so I see the
Oh, they're
mailman.
gonna love you. They're literally just gonna park, do the mail, and run over. It'll be so easy. So save
Perfect.
yourself the time. It's like
Yes. Especially with gas prices. I mean, driving anywhere right now is just crazy.
gas is
Especially,
crazy, but time and traffic. And I'll tell you what, like, I know that a lot of times when people are doing, I think you mentioned this, that you're doing like pickup or drop off or whatever. That to
mhm.
me is so expensive. I would much rather pay for the shipping because then I've got to have the visiting time. And I mean, that's lovely. Like, it's lovely to connect with people and everything. But at some point, like you got the drive time, you got the visiting time, you've got the waiting time, you're around other people's schedule. I It got to the point where even if it was someone in town, I was shipping it to them.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So
smart. I
you'll
did
love
notice
it in the end.
I did notice that with the last two couple drop-offs. I was like, okay, it's time to go. It's getting
Yeah,
late.
I mean, you feel bad because it's lovely catching up with people. It
Yes.
really is, and we're in a world where we need that. But
Yeah.
you're also an entrepreneur and a mom and a wife and a full time corporate girl, and nah.
Yeah. True. True. Okay. I love it. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Well, what do you have for me? I think I'm good on my questions at the moment. I was telling
Um,
you that I don't even know what questions to ask.
no, I mean your questions have been spectacular. So a few things that we sort of mentioned before, like offline, that I think we should circle up on, and I wanted to talk to you about was branding.
Yeah.
Around branding your products. And so the great thing about having an Etsy shop is there's not a ton of that you have to worry about design wise. I mean, your photos are come into your branding, you can do a header, header picture in your shop. That can be cute. But what's most important, I think, about branding on Etsy is your customer service.
Okay.
So I think it really comes down to what does your little welcome message say? And you'll see all this when you set up your shop. There'll be a place to put a welcome message. Your about section, your story should be filled out with some pictures, a little bit about you. Your
Okay.
product descriptions shouldn't just be a bullet point list of like, here's the data about the thing. You want to kind of create a feeling. You want to have like one or two sentences there that talk about the product. Like I always say, we hope this will bring some farmhouse charm to your kitchen nook or something like that, depending on the piece. You want to have a
Right.
sentence in there like, do you have questions? Please reach out. We're super friendly and we'd love to answer them. That's branding on Etsy. When
Okay.
someone DMs you, you're responding right away. And it's not just like, hey, it's like, hi there. Thank you so much for your message. Whatever else you can elaborate on and then answer their question and say, don't hesitate to ask me any other questions. That is where the branding comes in.
Okay.
Really, it's how you make the customers feel. And part of that is, yeah, first impression, pictures and all that of your shop, but even more so, it's how you sound and how you make them feel. So I think
Okay.
that's really important, in a
Okay.
world where,
That's
like, if you
good.
had your own website, it would be different, right? We would have a bit of a different conversation, but the Etsy community is sort of a brand in and of itself, and you're just plugging into that.
Okay.
And then we talked about supply chain and all of that. I wouldn't sweat about the inventory. And then I know what it was. So, oh my gosh, I just had a great idea. So, are you on Pinterest?
I mean,
Okay, great.
I'm not on Pinterest, but I am on Pinterest looking at other things.
You can go and create like a business account on Pinterest
Oh,
to
okay.
advertise. That would be a great way to get your name out there. That would be like off Etsy. I don't know how you feel about like maybe attempting TikTok. I'm not saying you have to dance. I'm saying like use it for like people would love to watch videos of your cutter or your painting or your packaging or whatever. Like you could find some creative ways. There's really creative ways to do TikTok. So like TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn are the three like most viral places right now to share. I know we're all really
Really?
comfortable with Instagram and Facebook, but they're so it's really hard to get seen or to grow a following. So I would
Right.
say Pinterest first and foremost. And there is this new thing called idea pins, which is sort of like, are you, because you're on Instagram, right? Is that like your home base kind of? So
No.
it's like if an Instagram story and a reel had a baby, it would be a Pinterest idea pin. So they don't expire, hence the reel. But you can kind of flip through. You can get crazy exposure on Pinterest right now with them. And it does not matter if your account is brand new. I had something I posted for one of my websites the other day. It's a brand new Pinterest account. I think I have 19 followers and like thousands of people saw it and clicked
Wow.
through it. So the only thing that's bad about the idea pins compared to a normal Pinterest pin is that you can't add a link. So they'd have to then go back to your account and find it. So you'll want to have, you're going to have to do some creative thinking that way. But still, if someone falls in love with one of your ornaments, they're going to click your profile and then they'll be able to find a normal pin with the same
Right.
product. And you can do video pins. Your little, oh girl, do the little
Oh,
twirly videos and just make like 100 pins. You're going to have
oh, I
you're going to have more
love
orders you know what to do with.
it. That's the goal. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
Yeah. So I
The
mean, I
goal.
wouldn't bother too much with Pinterest or Instagram other than to let your friends and family know. Like when you're ready to really reach people, I would get on Etsy immediately, Pinterest for sure, consider TikTok, LinkedIn because you're actually probably active on there for work, huh?
I
Are you a
am
LinkedIn?
active. Yes. Mhm.
LinkedIn is what Facebook was 10 years ago. You can get reach and people are going to totally love that you're bringing your side gig onto your LinkedIn.
Oh gosh, that's why I said really when you said LinkedIn because I would have never thought LinkedIn for something like this. I
I
love
mean, the
that.
reason is that people are multifaceted, right? So they're going to enjoy, and it's still business related. This is
Yes.
your side hustle. It's business related, but what it like from a practical standpoint, it's just simply you get more reach without having to pay for it. On Facebook and Instagram, you really have to pay for ads these days to get in front of a lot of people if you're not already really established. Otherwise,
Mm,
on your normal account, it's just in front of your friends and family, and that's great, but it only goes so far.
right.
When we want to
Right.
reach more people, it's all about like LinkedIn is great for virality.
Nice. I like it. I like
Isn't that
it.
fun?
Yes. And I'm not opposed to TikTok. I just don't want to dance.
No, nor do I at all, at all.
But
But I
you're
think
right.
that's probably
The engraving and the cutting of the machine, it's fascinating to watch. So that would be a great place to start on TikTok.
even the twirling videos on there.
Yeah, yeah.
That could be like a 6-second TikTok And you probably, honestly, like you're going to make more than me this year if you do that kind of stuff.
I like that idea. I like that idea.
That video really got me. I was like, darn, did she have like a videographer do that? I was really impressed with that.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
I think you're doing great. I think you need to take the plunge. I have a lot of confidence in your product, in everything you're doing. I am very much here for as you go along and you hit roadblocks. There's no need for you to have all the panic attacks that I did because I did not have someone I could ask.
Yes, yes, I appreciate that. I'm excited. Now I'm not nervous. Now I'm excited. Yes, you got me
Crazy
from nervous to excited in 35 minutes. That's
transformation.
yes, I love it. I love it. I love
You are even smiling bigger.
it.
You are. You're even got like a.
I'm excited. I'm excited. And I think the fact that you like my twirling video, that makes me even more excited.
Yeah. No, I love it. I mean, I want to see that for each one. And one more power tip. I got tripped up for so long that all of my signs had the same background. I was using the same stock, it wasn't a stock photo, it was from my own living room. I was using the same base picture and then putting the lettering or whatever on my signs. And I was super insecure that every single picture was the same. It does not matter. If it works, you use that same technique for every single thing. Because typically when people are coming across your product, it is in the feed. It's not in your shop. So they're not seeing all of the same pictures. And even when they come to your shop and they see it, honestly, it's very easy on the eye and it helps them to quickly identify what's different from each one. It's not a problem at all. So don't feel like every single time you've got to come up with some great picture or video. Find out what works. The video of the twirling works. Find out what works and then just like recreate it. And then sometimes I will test something new and see, I'll do a side by side and I'll have more than one listing of the same thing and say, does this new one work better? Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't.
Okay.
It
Okay.
usually doesn't. Like once you figure out that secret sauce, you can just duplicate
Stick
it.
with it. Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that because then I'm trying to be creative my with my work and not have to put all my creative energy into how I'm gonna take a picture. So if I can find something, then that'll help me to not have to focus as much there and focus more of my attention on creating something fantastic for people.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And pictures are like 80% of the battle. But once you figure out what works, that piece fades back a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Great.
So, well, thank you for trusting me with all of this. It's been
Of
so much
course.
fun.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate your time and all the nuggets. I took lots and lots of notes. So I can't wait to try it all. Thank you so much.
Yeah. You'll have to keep me posted and we'll dig
Absolutely.
in.
Yeah, you're my new best friend.
Well,
I mean, old
obviously.
best friend and my new best friend,
I
you
know.
know.
I love that. It's been so fun. All right, girly.
All right. Thank you so much.
I'll talk to you soon. And that's a wrap on this episode of How to Sell Your Stuff on Etsy. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're looking for more resources, head on over to howtosellyourstuff.com where you'll find podcast show notes, all the links from today's episode, the blog, courses, coaching, and more. If this episode was helpful to you, awesome. The greatest compliment I can receive from you is a rate, review, and subscribe on this podcast. Not only will it allow us to connect again on a future episode, it lets me know I'm providing you with value and helps other people find this content more easily. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for your support. Have a great day and see you next time.